What's going on, JP Football Fanatics? It's your boy James here, back with you once again with another NFL record prediction video. For this time, it is going to be on the Minnesota Vikings here for the 2023-24 NFL season. The Vikings, some people have some questions on, or some people really like them. Some people not so much, as far as like the schedule, as far as the roster goes overall. A lot of questions about this team, and we need to figure out where they're going to land this year. Do you think they're going to go ahead and yet again repeat as NFC North division title for NFC North championship or division title? Do you think they're going to improve on last season? Do you think they're going to decline in terms of defense? Or do you think they're going to be right around where they were last year, maybe have some luck come towards their way? Here, we're going to analyze that schedule for you right here, right now. It's your boy JP Football Fanatics telling you to please go ahead, drop a like on this video if you have not done so already, and also hit that subscribe button. That also asks you to hit the notification bell. So please do that as well, because anytime that I post new NFL content on this particular YouTube page, you guys will be notified as far as anytime that I post any new NFL content, whether it's pre-recorded or it's live or vice versa. You guys will be the first ones to be notified in terms of when that will be released. So do all those things, help this channel grow to be bigger and better than what it is already. I need you guys way more than you need me. And with that being said, let's get started with the NFL 2023-24 season for the Minnesota Vikings. And here we are, the Vikings schedule for the 23-24 NFL season. So the Vikings are a team that I personally have liked for a long time. I am a big Kirk Cousins fan. I've always have been. I've always given him the benefit of the doubt. I've always never counted him out in any games that he's always played in. There are some questions that I do have though this year. I think, I think it's going to be a battle between them and the Lions in terms of the NFC North division. But I think as far as defense goes, there are some questions about the defense. And even though they may have picked up a couple players on that secondary, are they going to already, are they going to be formatted and ready to go by the time Brian Flores gets done with them and, they are a competitor on defense again? I think that's kind of something to really think about. And I don't know if this team is going to be ready for that defense, but I think offensively it's going to help balance out a lot of different things. So let's get started. Let's start off with week 1 where you play the Tampa Bay Bucks at home. I think you guys should be able to beat the Bucks. You guys could probably maybe not so much force some turnovers on Baker Mayfield, but I do believe though that your offense is going to be a mixed match for the Bucks, which is going to be something that is going to be really, really hard for Todd Bowles and that defense to be able to stop. I don't think they have necessarily the secondary that matches up well enough with Justin Jefferson, or even in this case, maybe even Jordan Addison as well. So I think that's a win for you guys. I think you guys win that one. Then in week 2, you play the Philadelphia Eagles on the road on Thursday Night Football. I think you guys lose to the Eagles yet again this year. I think you guys, you guys got blown out by them last year. I think you guys are going to get beat by them again. And I think you guys are, just not a very good matchup. I think Jalen Hurts, that offensive line versus, the Vikings defensive line, and then you got the receivers versus the Vikings secondary. I don't think it's a big, huge mixed match. It's not a good game for either team. So the Eagles should probably win that one. Week 3, you play the Los Angeles Chargers. This game is a either way type of game that I could really see going either way. Like, obviously, when you're playing in Minnesota, this is a tough environment. The crowd is loud. The stadium's loud. The fans are really into it. The players are into it. It's tough. I think you guys win this game against the Chargers. Like, nothing against Justin Herbert and company, but I think as far as coaching staff goes for the Chargers, it's going to be so hard for them to be able to keep up with Kevin O'Connell and the team itself. And as far as running the ball goes, which is something that they do significantly do well in, I think you guys can run on the Chargers defense, because I don't really trust their run defense to really make any big stops. Then you go into week 4, you play the Carolina Panthers. This is the game that I could see either way. I think this is like a matchup between an offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings versus a defensive line for the Panthers that's going to be flying under the radar this year and having some good secondary. Like, I think this pass rush for the Panthers is going to be, I think it's going to be rather difficult. I don't think a lot of people really realize it. I think it's going to be difficult. And I think Frank Reich's defense can do that. I think he's going to keep himself in the game. I think this could be a game where they could take advantage of that defense for the Vikings in terms of running the ball and passing the ball. So I'm going to say you guys actually lose to the Panthers. And also, this will be an Adam Thielen revenge game, who was traded to Carolina in the offseason. Then you go into week 5, and then you play the Kansas City Chiefs. I have you guys upsetting the Chiefs this year. I think you guys, you're playing in Minnesota, tough environment right there. The Chiefs usually lose at least one or two teams that may look like they're superior than, but I think you guys I think you guys can actually beat the Chiefs. I think if you're at home, you have a tough environment, you play in a dome kind of thing, you guys could win this game. I really could see that. Then you go into week 6, you go to play the Chicago Bears. I think you guys can, win this game, but it's also not going to be a very pretty game by any means. So I could see that you guys splitting with the Bears this year. I could see you losing to them in week 6 in Chicago, but I could also see you coming back on Monday Night Football and be able to beat them at home. The Bears are a team that's going to be, they'll be in some games. They may match up well with some teams, but not every single team that's on this on their schedule. I think it's going to be a tough year for the Bears, another tough year, a rebuilding year for them. But, in terms of Kirk Cousins and in terms of him playing prime time and in terms of him playing in tougher and colder environments, it's not very pretty. So you guys will probably split with the Bears this year. Week 7, you play the San Francisco 49ers at home. This is the game that could go either way. I could definitely see the Vikings coming out. I can see you guys coming out and actually beating the 49ers. I think your quarterback, whether it's Sam Darnold or Trey Lance or Brock Purdy as your opponent, and then you got Kirk Cousins in there, and you got this really tough wide receiver core. Like, the defense for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers is going to be extremely tough to stop. Like, no question about it. Like, I don't know how well you can be successful in that, but this game isn't being even played in San Francisco. So this could be a potential game that you could actually get up and upset the 49ers. Like, I think the Vikings are probably going to be due for a couple of upsets this year. And I think the 49ers could be potentially one of them, along with the Chiefs. And if you can beat both the Chiefs and the Niners in the same season, that's something really special. Week 8, you play the Green Bay Packers. I think you split with the Packers this year. I'm going to say you probably lose to them the first time around, and then at the end of the season, at home, you guys should be able to beat them. But I think you guys are going to split with them this year. Jordan Love in his first year as a full-time starter, new regime there, new era. You guys can really, really take advantage of that. Week 9, you play the Atlanta Falcons. I see you guys actually beating the Falcons. In terms of run, I think you could run the ball on them. I think you could also pass on the ball too. Passing on the ball, maybe, questionable in some ways. AJ Terrell as the secondary for the Falcons could be an either way type of game. But I think you guys can run on the ball on them for sure. But in terms of secondary, I think it's going to be the best secondary core that the Falcons have seen in quite a while. But I don't think they're good enough to stop Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison or TJ Hawkinson or even this offensive line for the Vikings. So I'll take the Vikings to win that one. Week 10, you play the New Orleans Saints at home. I'm going to pick you guys to beat the Saints. I like the Saints. I like their defense. I like Derek Carr a lot. But at the same time, on the same token, though, the Vikings are due for some wins this year. I think you guys should find a way to beat the Saints too. They're a team that's kind of inconsistent. Maybe defense is a little overrated at times. They're good defense, but I think at times they're older, and I don't know if they have anybody. Maybe Marshawn Lattimore could match up well with the wide receivers and maybe inside of the slot. But as far as that, other than that, really, I mean, I don't really see them really slowing down the Vikings offense, and especially if you got to play this game in Minnesota. Week 11, you play the Denver Broncos in Denver. I don't remember exactly who I had picking this one, but it will be a good matchup with Patrick Surtain and Jefferson for sure. That will be a really good matchup to really see. So again, either way, type of game. But I think you guys could potentially find a way. Actually, I think I had you guys losing to Denver in this one, especially if you have to play in Denver, which is not an easy environment to play in. I could see the Broncos coming in, secondary wise and stopping your passing attack. So I'll say the Broncos win that one in week 11. Then we go over to week 12. You play the Bears. You should be able to beat them again, beat them on Monday Night Football. Then you go to the bye week in week 13. And then you've got week 14 and you got to play the Las Vegas Raiders. So another tough environment here, another tough game here. That's going to go again either way. I don't remember exactly who I picked in this one. But Jimmy Garoppolo, the offense for the Raiders is very underrated and it's going to be flying under the radar for the entire NFL season. I think you guys lose to the Raiders, actually. I think the Raiders are due for some nice wins this year. They could potentially make it to the playoffs, or at least they could potentially try to push their way into a wild card. I think they're a complete wild card team this year. But I think the Vikings, in terms of that, I think it's going to be really tough for either defense to be able to slow each other down. So I think you guys lose that one in week 15. Then you go to week 14, excuse me. Then you go into week 15 and you play the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals should be able to beat you guys. I'm sorry to say it. But the Bengals are very, very good, obviously, and even with a better offensive line, this team should really be much better this year. Then you go to week 16, you play the Lions. I think you're going to split with the Lions this year. The Lions are a team that's, had your number the last couple of years. Even when they're bad, they still kind of find a way to beat you in any given way. So that's also a big factor into that as well. So I'll see you. I could see you guys splitting with them this season in particular. So as far as everything else goes, though, I think I have you guys being at around 9-8. So I think you guys are going to still have a winning record, maybe 10 wins at best. But that's probably just about it, honestly. I think your offense is going to bail you out with a lot of these games this year. Like, I think they're going to bail you out for games like the Chargers, the Chiefs, maybe the 49ers, depending on defense or quarterback, excuse me, for the Niners. And then everything else kind of really just kind of is going either way, really. So, they'll kind of be like an up and down roller coaster this year. It may be just enough to win the division, but I think the Lions and the Vikings are going to be, I think both of them neck and neck. And I think they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot for this season. So with that being said, everybody, where do you think the Vikings end up this year? Do you think they're above? Do you think they're below 500? Do you think they're right around here? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. It's your boy JP Football Fanatics saying thanks. We'll see you all next time. Peace.